From a scenic lake with lotus flowers to hidden Hollywood history, and even some pop culture icons, this neighborhood surprised me in the best way. Welcome to Pop Culture Passport, your ultimate guide to quirky and cool destinations across the US. I'm your host, Beth Scalacci, aka the Roman Yeti, here to help you dive into the world of theme parks, uncover film and TV locations, and explore quirky museums, roadside attractions, and legendary venues that capture the heart and soul of this unique country. So grab your pop culture passport and let's discover destinations that resonate with your interest, not just with what's trending on social media. Are you ready? Let's roam! Welcome back. Today we're exploring a neighborhood in Los Angeles that might feel a little familiar, especially if you've ever strolled through Echo Lake at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Now, that peaceful waterfront, complete with a docked boat, palm trees, and those retro vibes, well, it was all inspired by the real Echo Park Lake in Los Angeles. So, of course, I had to see how the real deal compares. Confession time. Maybe a little part of me wanted to see a giant dinosaur like Gertie from Echo Lake at Hollywood Studios. Spoiler alert, there's no Gertie in sight. Now, of course I knew that, but a girl can dream, right? But Echo Park Lake makes up for it with its lotus flowers, swan pedal boats, and skyline views that Disney honestly can't replicate. Now, Echo Park is a mix of scenic charm, rich history, and some pop culture moments that really left their mark on movies, TVs, and music videos. It's just one of those places that feels familiar and surprising at the same time, and I really can't wait to tell you why. So, Echo Park didn't start as a hip neighborhood or a film hotspot. It actually began as a water source. Back in 1868, what we now know as Echo Park Lake was Reservoir Number 4, built to provide drinking water for Los Angeles. By 1891, the landowners decided to donate 33 acres to the city for public use. The park opened a few years later with walking paths, a boathouse, and even courts for tennis and croquet. The name Echo Park came from City Park Superintendent Joseph Henry Tomlinson, who loved the echoes he heard during construction. The lake has seen plenty of changes since then. In fact, it was completely drained and renovated in 2011 as part of a $45 million cleanup project. Today, it's a peaceful spot, like I said, with lotus flowers, walking paths, and those iconic paddle boats. Now, here's a fun fact most people don't know. Hollywood wasn't the first home of movie making in Los Angeles. Echo Park was. So back in the early 1900s, the area known as Edendale, right along the Echo Park Silver Lake border, was the original hub for West Coast filmmaking. By 1909, silent film studios were popping up along a stretch of Alessandro Street, now part of Glendale Boulevard. But some of the biggest names of the silent era got their start here. Charlie Chaplin, Mabel Normand, Fatty Arbuckle, Harold Lloyd, Gloria Swanson all worked in studios and cottages scattered throughout this neighborhood. The most famous? Max Sennett's Keystone Studios. If you've ever seen those old slapstick Keystone Cops comedies, they were filmed here, sometimes even right at Echo Park Lake. In fact, city leaders eventually banned Sennett's team from filming around the lake because they were tramping too many flowers during their wild chase scenes. One building from that era still remains standing, the original Keystone Max Sennett Studios building, located at 1712 Glendale Boulevard. Today, it's recognized as a Los Angeles historic cultural monument, and it remains an important reminder that before Hollywood rose to fame, Edendale was the beating heart of the film industry. So next time you think of early cinema, don't picture that Hollywood backlot. Picture Echo Park. That's where it all began. Now, also, Echo Park has been in spotlights for decades, and its film credits are impressive. Now, if you're a set jetting fan like me, here's some that you might recognize. 1974's Chinatown, one of the greatest neo-noir films ever made, filmed a key scene right at Echo Park Lake. Jack Nicholson's character, Jake Geets, photographs Holly Mulray and Catherine rowing on the water. If you visit, head to the north near Glendale Boulevard for that perfect movie moment shot. In 2001, Training Day was filmed there. It shows Echo Park as this gritty side in Training Day. There's a tense scene where Ethan Hawke's character gets up, takes place inside the house on Everett Street, and fans still point it out as one of the most intense sequences in a film. Now, if you're a fan of Fast and the Furious, like myself and my family, um, this is where it all began in the very first movie in 2001. Um, while not technically Echo Park neighborhood, it's right on the border, so we're including it. Dominic Toretto's house is a real house that is located on Kensington Road. And then Bob's Market is the real market, but that is where Brian buys his famous tuna sandwiches. So both spots are major photo ops, and I'll talk a little bit more in a minute. And then finally, Under the Silver Lake from 2018. This was a modern film, modern noir mystery that leaned heavily on Echo Park for its dreamy, almost surreal LA vibe. The Coffee Pot Cafe on Sunset Boulevard makes an appearance, as well as several neighborhood streets you'll recognize as you walk around the lake. And for the deep cut film fans out there, Echo Park is a hidden gem. Houses in the neighborhood pop up in a surprising number of movies, but none of them more than the 1031 Everett Street. And this single address has been in Blue Streak, Training Day, and Drag Me to Hell. So, not bad for one little bungalow. And it's not just the movies either. Music videos love Echo Park. OK Go filmed their End Love video at this park as well. So I wanted to talk about sort of what we did in our experience at the park and in the neighborhood. The whole neighborhood is a vibe, and it's really worth a stop, I think. We parked our car and we walked down toward the lake. And as we passed these fences, they were dotted with blue filming notices. It was so wild to imagine that these residents are going to wake up one morning and see a full film crew setting up right outside their front door. I mean, I guess it's that part of LA life for sure. But it's so beautiful. And from the direction we entered it, the skyline, the LA skyline in the background and the fountain rising, it's just gorgeous, and it's instantly recognizable. You realize like how many films and shows use it as their establishing shot, to be like, yes, this is Los Angeles, but not maybe the Hollywood version of the Los Angeles. Um, we took a full walk around the lake. We enjoyed the views from every angle. The weather was a little hot, unseasonably hot while we were there the couple days, but it was a lot of fun. Now, I have to share with you, this was just one of those funny observations we made. Um, there were geese, Canadian geese, all over the place. And I know it sounds just really odd, but these geese were shockingly chill. Um, we're used to if we see geese in a park, especially on the East Coast, just give them room. Like, don't get near them. They can be pretty aggressive. And they had all these, like, the baby goslings. And so we were like trying to keep our distance, but they're just walking right in front of us. The goslings are walking in front of us. Like, it didn't matter. It was just sort of surreal. And one of those moments that we just sort of laughed about. Like, you just like, what's going on here? Um, so it's just one of those moments I had to share. But like much of LA, Echo Park again has that creative vibe and energy. You can just feel, and not just by the lake, but definitely in the neighborhood. We took a walk and explored, some of the streets and filled with coffee shops and cool indie boutiques and vintage shops. Our favorite stop was Sunday's Best Vintage. First of all, there was an adorable cat in the front window. That's an automatic win, of course. But the store itself was just so well curated. I usually get like super overwhelmed in these places because you have to go through racks and piece by piece. But these clothes were so cool. They were so organized. They even had a rack of like vintage Disney pieces, which was so cool to go through and look. I resisted. It was really hard to walk out of there empty-handed, but I did. I didn't need anything and I was good. But before leaving that area, like I said, I would bring this up again. We hopped in the car and we did have to visit the two Fast and Furious filming locations I mentioned. So the house that stands in for Toretto's house and the market used for that famous tuna sandwich scene. And we weren't the only ones there. There were plenty of other fans snapping pictures and selfies, and it was just sort of fun because you all knew you were fans and what you were there for. Everyone just sort of nodded at each other and gave each other space, but no one really talked. It was just a fun sort of unifying moment for sure. Now, I am gonna say, if you are visiting filming locations in residential neighborhoods, please be respectful. Please remember the neighbors. It's a special experience for us fans, but these are real houses with real people. And let's just say a few neighbors definitely look less than thrilled with all of us taking pictures of Toretto's home, even though we were staying out of the way and being very respectful and staying across the street on sidewalks. But just remember it's a neighborhood that gets disrupted every time things are filmed there. So just heed my little warning for sure. Um, but like I said, Echo Park is just one of those rare spots. It blends a history, pop culture, and everyday creativity. From early Hollywood roots to movie moments and laid back neighborhood charm. It's really like this authentic slice of LA worth adding to your itinerary. So, next time you're at Hollywood Studios and you wander past Echo Lake, you'll know now there's a real place behind that Disney design. And honestly, it's much cooler and it's definitely worth the visit. So, for this week's Yeti Pop Picks, I want to introduce you to two new series I have on the Roaming Yeti website. Their blog series, snapshots and stories, where I'm going to share my pictures, my favorite pictures, and most interesting finds of the places we visit. And you will also find the Roaming Yeti Snack Society, where I'm having a lot of fun trying snacks to take on trips, pick up during trips, probably some pop culture crossovers. I mean, I think I saw Minion goldfish the other day at the store, so, let's have fun and I definitely want suggestions and reviews from you guys too. So, keep an eye on the blog and on Instagram for that. You can find both of these under the journal tab at the top on the roamingyeti.com. So with that, we add another stamp to our pop culture passport. I hope that this episode inspires you to get out and explore all that is quirky and cool, even in your own backyard. Follow, download, and subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. Tell a friend and leave a review if you like what we're doing. It really helps the show grow. You can also follow me on Instagram or Facebook. Just search for The Roaming Yeti. Keep roaming and finding your fun.